It's time for another Shinobi Striker DLC. Obito is an attack type whose jutsu kind of feel like he belongs in the range type category. To me, that just means that he definitely feels fresh and brings something new to the attack type class. Now, I know attack types are usually the target of some hate by the community, as they usually get a lot more love than the other types. But I mean, would you rather just get bad DLC instead? If anything, the other types need to step it up. Obito is a lot of fun. I think his jutsu are very strong and none of them are particularly broken, as all of them have their weaknesses. But I mean, how can you go wrong with a beam? It's a beam! That said, Obito is not the only new thing added to the game. There have been a couple of good changes in this patch, particularly the biggest nerf in these patch notes, time-space hop. They decrease the amount you stay invincible after using the substitution and increase the cooldown to 30 seconds up from 25. On the other hand, all the other clone substitutions, no matter the element, have had a cooldown buff from 30 seconds down to 25. So finally, a significant nerf to what was the best undisputed substitution in the game. We'll see if that's enough. And there was also a HUD change. When you pull up the scoreboard mid-match, you can now see the status of your teammate's ultimate jutsu. It's a bit odd that it shows an empty circle on the enemy team, but if you run something like a Byakugan and you're close to your heal type using that Byakugan, you can actually see their ult charge on the scoreboard as well. But you can never see what ultimate they're running. Not yet, at least. I wonder if they're setting something up for Kaguya in the future, as she's the next DLC in the game. And before we get to Obito, a quick word from today's sponsor. You guys know them already. It's GamerSupps. It's been a while since we've talked about the store, and as you can see, things have changed around here. They've definitely expanded on the products they're selling, as you've got a lot more hoodies now, you got sweatpants, you got new cups, and even a limited edition mousepad. I think they've done a great job with this design, but to me, the main reason to visit this store is still the drinks. A little spoon of this into a big cup, mix it up, and you've got a delicious, sugar-free, zero carbs energy drink, or if you prefer, caffeine-free. Tastes like soda without the stuff that makes you fat. I say this without a hint of irony, it's my favorite drink of all time. Misfits Melon is still king for me, but Red Raspberry is coming pretty close to the top. But you gotta drink it to believe it, so if you want to take my word for it, use my link down below and code Globku at checkout for a 10% discount on anything you want. And thank you GamerSupps for sponsoring this video. Let's finally talk about Obito and everything he brings. When you buy the character, you get two cosmetics. One is the Ten Tails outfit, which actually looks more like an outfit than you might like. That neckline really feels like you're wearing a costume instead of actually being the Ten Tails Jinchuriki. That said, you can disguise it a bit by changing your character's skin color, as they put a new skin color in the game. It's that Obito's green tint, very pale, and this is completely free. You don't need to buy the DLC for this color. But I don't know, even then, I wasn't really a fan of this outfit. And there's also an accessory, which is Obito's horns. Again, not a big fan, so as far as cosmetics go, it's not really for me. But what really matters is what does he bring to Shinobi Striker gameplay, and we start really strong with a brand new ninja tool, Truth Seeker Orb Warped. This can be used by attack types and heal types, and it's basically a single target turret. You set it in place and it just stays there, floating in the air. And after a short delay, it just starts shooting whatever target you were aiming at. Set it and forget it. So yeah, having this backing you up while you're doing combos or protecting you while you're healing up your team can be quite useful. The orb itself has a hitbox, so if you summon it on someone, it will also hit them and knock them back, which can give you some breathing room as well. And the cooldown is pretty good too. The biggest weakness of this ninja tool is obviously it being stationary. You can't move the orb after placing it. So if the opponent moves away from it, it's not gonna do much work. But if you're fighting over a point or a scroll, a well-placed orb will do some work for sure. And with that out of the way, let's talk jutsu. First up, Truth-Seeking Scorch, aka the beam. Yeah, that's the description. It's a beam. You can hold the button to extend the beam, and you can also control the beam's direction in case the opponent slightly dodges it. Of course, the first question I had was, does this game have beam clashes now? And the answer is, sadly, no. Whoever does the beam first just knocks the other player off of it, so maybe next time. But this is one heck of a jutsu. The damage that a full charge does on an opponent is really good. Just make sure they have no substitutions before shooting it, because they will definitely sub out of it. Though with some luck, the substitution will just put them right back on the beam. Thanks, Shinobi Striker. As a downside, this beam has a very big cooldown, and so does the other jutsu from Obito, by the way. Both of his jutsu have upwards of 20 seconds of cooldown. But the good news is, the beam is fully unblockable. And you know what that means. Say goodbye to that Susanoo armor, baby. In fact, it counters a lot more than just Susanoo armor. You can hit people inside the water pillar, which is really good. It doesn't destroy the pillar, but it hits the people inside it for big damage. Sand Shield, on the other hand, completely destroyed. The user gets hit, the Sand Shield disappears. It's a great counter to these defensive abilities. It also does not care about walls. Not a tiny bit. But if you're on the receiving end of this and you're looking for a counter to the beam, you can always use an ability with armor like Demon Hunter or Hazan Strike, you're gonna eat the damage, but you'll power through it and punch the guy in the face. If on the other hand, you don't want to take any damage at all, then I recommend Strange Taste because karma beats everything. Thanks Boruto for adding that small detail to this universe. Kamui also phases through it, Nido Jizo denies all the damage, and of course, Truth Seeker Orb. As always, it will counter it hands down. Now, strangely enough, this beam is not considered a projectile, so Minato's Guiding Thunder does not stop it. Neither does Sukuno Hikona, the yellow eyes from Ishiki. It's a bit weird, but hey, I'm just reporting on what I found. I don't follow the logic. Anyway, this beam deals a ton of damage, but it has also exposed a massive glitch in Shinobi Striker. A glitch that's been around for ages, but now it's extremely noticeable. You see, when you reach the combo limit with any combo you're doing, the enemy will simply fall off your combo and be knocked down. However, if the last hit of that combo is a multi-hitting ability like the beam, then the beam will go through and hit a bunch more times before the combo drops. Unless the person you're hitting is the server's host. You see, out of these 8 players, one of them is randomly selected as the host. If they disconnect, the whole lobby crashes. That's usually how you find out. But now, thanks to this jutsu, you can just find the host by hitting them with a beam. And if you don't, hey, there's a good chance the host is on your team. Good job. Because this is what happens when you hit anyone with it, and this is what happens when you hit the host. And you can see how much faster this one falls. I did not learn this until today. This is not okay. So this is a really high damaging jutsu. If you get hit by this, sub out. Unless you're the host. In that case, it's not that bad. Good God, every single anime game, I swear. Moving on to the next jutsu. Cross Lantern. That's actually a good name for what this does. That's a rare thing in Shinobi Striker. It basically summons a cross of fire around you, and the flames stay on that location for a while, dealing damage over time. The initial hit, though, it deals some extra damage, and according to the description, it also disables enemy substitutions, but every time I've been hit by this, my subs were just fine, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Also, it doesn't say it in the description, but this jutsu is actually armored, and you can do it while in the air. In fact, it might be optimal to do it in the air, as you get a bigger hitbox for your flames. But do prioritize getting that initial hit whenever you can. That's where most of your damage comes from, and that knockback just lines them up perfectly for combo jutsu or to extend with regular attacks. Just like the beam, this move also counters a bunch of defensive moves, but not as many. Water Pillar works pretty much the same here. It knocks up the user inside it, but it doesn't destroy the water itself. It does not counter Sand Shield though. It deals damage to the user, but the sand does not break. It's also not a projectile, it seems. Minato Jutsu is taking nothing but L's today. Sukuno Hikona does work though, so I guess this really is a melee attack, huh? It also does not care about walls, by the way, and Susanoo Armor, it will actually damage the defense type that uses it, but it does not break the armor, unfortunately. So it's less of a counter and more of a zone domination jutsu. And definitely a combo tool as well. It's great as a starter if you just do it in the opponent's face or if they're charging at you, since this jutsu is armored. But once again, just remember, it has a really long cooldown, so it's not something you'll have available all the time. Finally, we have his ultimate, which in my opinion is easily the worst part of his kit. The Divine Blade Nuno Boko. It unleashes a devastating attack in a straight line with really good range, and it goes through walls. That sounds great. So what's the problem? Well, the problem is how long this takes to launch, because they did a gigantic animation for this again. It's another ultimate that just takes ages to come out, which means this is super easy to dodge, especially from afar. So it's definitely more of an ambush type of ultimate, something you throw by surprise from behind a wall and just pray that it hits. As far as damage though, this jutsu doesn't always kill, but it's very consistent. Here's how it works. If your opponent has more than 50% HP, they will go down to 1 HP. So if you sneeze on them, they'll fall, but you have to be ready to finish the job. If they're below 50% though, this is GG, one-shot ultimate as long as it hits. The one redeeming thing this ultimate has is that it's pretty fast to charge. You could probably get it twice in a match if you tried, so it's not a huge loss if you miss, but still, I'd rather have something a bit more consistent if I am going in for the kill. And that's Obito. Oh, that's right, we're doing character cards now. So we're gonna score each jutsu according to everything I just said about them, and then there's an automatic formula that just scores the character automatically. I would say both of his jutsu are really good, but I'm giving bonus points to the beam for being so unique. To me, it's not always about being competitive, it's about having fun. And this beam is a ton of fun. I love it when things feel brand new and still viable. Big fan of that. The ultimate, however, not impressed. Gonna have to give it a bad score, but let's not forget that this character comes with a new ninja tool that is pretty okay. So with that, it seems like it's another A-rank character, just like Minato. But it does have a slightly better score though, because I'm behind the scenes and I can actually see the numbers. But speaking of Minato, if you missed that review, you can check it out right here. And stay tuned for the gameplay video with some awesome loadouts, GamerSupps coming very, very soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.